Your teenager is not shutting you out because they are going through a phase or because they are being difficult on purpose. They are shutting you out because somewhere along the way, you accidentally became someone whose presence feels like being watched constantly. The room that gets cleaned suspiciously thoroughly only when they are not home tells them something you never meant to communicate. The phone that gets checked without warning tells them their private life is actually a shared document you have editing access to. The location app refreshing every 20 minutes tells them that trust in this household runs in one direction only, and they know which one. Here are 11 things you're doing that feel protective to you and feel like surveillance to the person living under your roof. Number 1. You were not cleaning their room. You were conducting an investigation with cleaning supplies as cover. Let us be honest about what actually happened in there, because your teen has already run the forensic analysis and reached their conclusions. Dusting somehow required opening the notebook on their desk and reading enough to form a very specific follow-up question 3 days later. Vacuuming mysteriously involved checking under the mattress for something considerably smaller and more personal than a dust bunny. MIT. Adolescent development research is direct on the outcome here. Privacy violations do not make teens more open. They make teens better at hiding. Your teen already knows because the journal was placed back at a slightly different angle and a hypothetical question appeared from nowhere. So, hypothetically speaking, what would you think about someone who had complicated feelings about a person named Tyler who plays guitar? Smooth. Genuinely one of the least subtle intelligence gathering operations conducted in the history of parenting on any continent. What you believed you were doing was protecting them. What you were actually doing was teaching them that privacy does not exist here. They now write in code, keep decoy journals with entries about the weather, and store anything real at a location you cannot access. You did not discover their secrets. You upgraded their entire security infrastructure and lost your standing as a trustworthy person in the process. If you find something genuinely concerning, leading with, "You seem stressed lately. Want to talk?" works considerably better than, "I found this." They would have told you about Tyler if they believed that sharing something personal would not result in losing the last private space they have. Number 2. Checking their phone without warning does not build safety. It builds a parallel digital life you will never be allowed to see. You picked it up to keep them safe, and what you actually built was an architecture of alternative accounts you do not know exist. Stanford Digital Privacy Research puts this plainly. Teens whose phones are regularly checked do not become safer. They become more sophisticated at hiding. The phone you check has homework reminders, appropriate text threads, and the digital equivalent of a church bulletin board on the homepage. The 11 other platforms where their actual social life happens are organized, password protected, and completely invisible to your current search methods. Every unannounced check teaches them that the solution is not to make better choices, but to make their real choices harder for you to locate. Can we talk about how you navigate things online creates a conversation? Hand me your phone right now creates a better hidden backup device. Trust that is built through conversation survives adolescence. Trust that is extracted through inspection disappears the moment they are old enough to leave. Number 3. Tracking their location like a delivery package does not teach responsibility. It teaches them that every movement requires justification. You saw they were at a different address for 12 minutes, and you had questions about those 12 minutes and what occurred inside them. 12 minutes at a fast food restaurant with a friend's parent became a timeline reconstruction that required more explanation than the event deserved. University of Washington research is clear. Excessive location monitoring increases teen anxiety and damages trust more reliably than it prevents anything. Your teen is not thinking about how much you care when they see their location being checked. They are thinking about how to disappear from it. They are not developing independence. They are developing a mental map of which locations generate follow-up questions and which ones do not. Location sharing for genuine emergencies builds safety. Location sharing as a continuous surveillance feed builds a teenager who learns to game the data. Text me when you arrive somewhere new teaches responsibility. Refreshing their coordinates every few minutes teaches them that you do not trust them at all. The moment someone feels monitored rather than trusted, they do not become more transparent. They become more motivated to become invisible. Number 4, you did not join their social media to connect with them. You infiltrated a space they needed to exist without you watching. You followed them, you made an account, you used the username that fooled absolutely no one, including the algorithm that serves them content. Psychology Today research confirms what every teenager already knows. Parental presence on their platforms does not create safety. It creates performance. They do not stop posting when you're watching. They create a version of their online life specifically designed for your consumption and nothing more. The account you follow has sunsets, schoolwork, wholesome content, and the exact energy of someone who knows they are being evaluated right now. The account their actual friends interact with exists on a platform you have not heard of and would not be able to navigate successfully. Show me something funny you saw this week creates a moment of genuine sharing. Why did you post that at 11 at night creates a burner account. The goal is shared space that they offer voluntarily, not monitored space that you occupy and they perform inside until they find an exit. Number 5, interrogating every name they mention turns their friendships into classified information they will never willingly share with you again. So who is this person? Just someone from school? What does just mean? It means a person I know. Where do they live? Why does that matter? Columbia University research found that parental interrogation of friendships produces teens who simply stop mentioning anyone by name in conversation at home. Friend category 1. Officially approved. Mentioned by full name, shown in photos, safe for parental consumption and follow-up questions. Friend category 2. Mentioned vaguely, described as someone from somewhere. Referenced without details that could generate a 20-question sequence. Friend category 3. Never mentioned, completely hidden, and actually the people your teen cares about the most and trusts the deepest. Every time a new name triggers an investigation, they learn that sharing someone they care about means subjecting that person to your screening process. I would love to meet them sometime when you are ready. Lands completely differently than running their name through your internal background check system. Showing interest in their world and investigating their world look identical from your side. From their side, they feel nothing alike at all. Number 6. Reading their journal was not parenting. It was walking into the one room where they were allowed to be completely honest and reading the walls. That journal was not a notebook. It was the private space where they process the parts of adolescence that are not ready to be spoken aloud yet. Yale child psychology research is unambiguous. Journaling is essential for emotional development, and violating that privacy shuts down emotional processing entirely. They have not stopped writing. They have moved everything to a location that requires considerably more effort to find than the previous one. Or they have stopped writing altogether, which means the one safe place they had for their unfinished thoughts no longer exists for them. You did not just read words on a page. You read their interior world and returned it to its location as though nothing significant had happened. The only repair that actually works here does not involve justification, explanation, or context about how worried you were when you opened it. I read your journal. I was wrong. Your private thoughts should stay private, and I want to earn back the trust I took from you. That conversation will not fix everything immediately, but it is the only starting point that leads anywhere other than permanent emotional distance. Number 7. You are not accidentally passing by their door. You are operating a one-person listening station with plausible deniability as your cover. Harvard research on teen communication found that teens who know they might be overheard do not share more. They develop coded language instead. Your teen now conducts conversations that sound like they are coordinating a covert operation using references only the participants can decode. The thing we talked about. You know the situation with the person. Right, that thing. Exactly that. Handled. Good. Okay. Done. You are not getting more information through proximity. You are getting the carefully edited version designed to survive accidental parental interception. When a teenager has to speak in code inside their own home to have a private conversation, your monitoring has become the actual problem. Physical space to talk without feeling observed is not a luxury you are providing. It is a basic requirement for a functioning relationship. When you stop hovering near the door, they stop treating every conversation like it needs to be encrypted before it leaves their mouth. Number 8. Searching their room while they're at school is not a safety check. It is a search without a warrant in someone's only private space. Northwestern research found that teens whose rooms are searched without cause develop higher anxiety and hide more things, including completely harmless ones. You found the candy, but what you actually lost was the part of the relationship where they felt comfortable leaving anything visible at all. Their room now operates on a tiered concealment system, where anything they do not want examined is located somewhere your casual search will not reach. Real emotions, real thoughts, real evidence of who they actually are. All of it has been reclassified as something that requires protection from you. A room search does not feel protective to the person whose room it is. It feels like being audited by someone who has already decided you are guilty. Their room is their space. Knocking and waiting costs you nothing. Respecting a closed door builds more trust than any search has ever produced. The moment you stop treating their space as something you have the right to inspect, they stop treating their entire life as something to conceal. Number 9. Removing the ability to close their door does not remove what happens behind it. It removes the place where they felt safe enough to process it. No closed doors sounds like an open communication policy. To your teen, it sounds like no privacy exists anywhere inside this building for you. Harvard boundary research shows that teens without private space do not become more honest. They become more guarded because they have no choice. Behind that door, they are not plotting anything. They are doing the ordinary human work of having feelings without an audience watching them do it. Changing clothes, crying without explaining why, thinking out loud, processing a conversation that hurt. All of this requires a room where they are alone. When you remove the door, you do not remove those experiences. You remove the safe place and force them to find somewhere else to have them. Doors can close, knocking exists. Waiting for a response before entering is a behavior that costs absolutely nothing and builds an enormous amount. Give them the space to close the door, and they will open it voluntarily far more often than they would if you had never allowed it to close. Number 10. Using guilt to extract information does not teach them to be honest. It teaches them that your love arrives with conditions attached to it. I'm your parent, and I have a right to know what is happening in your life. You have a right to know they are safe and that is accurate. Everything beyond safety is information they choose to share because they trust you, not information they are obligated to surrender on demand. Harvard Family Systems research confirms that guilt-based communication builds short-term compliance and long-term distance in almost every documented case. Every guilt trip delivers the same underlying message, regardless of how it is worded or how genuinely worried you are when you say it. The message is, your right to privacy exists only until I decide I need to know something, at which point it stops existing for you. That is not connection. That is a conditional relationship where they learn to manage your feelings rather than share their own honestly with you. I want to understand what you are going through. If you ever want to talk about it, is an invitation. Guilt is a demand in different clothing. Number 11. Comparing your rules to what another parent does not make your teen more compliant. It makes them feel like their needs are irrelevant. Piper's mom checks her phone and Piper is completely fine with it. Piper also describes her mother as exhausting to everyone she actually trusts. Piper has already identified the exit timeline and is counting down with the quiet precision of someone who has done the math more than once. Every family operates differently. Every teenager has different needs, and every time you invoke another parent, you are making a specific argument. The argument is, your boundaries are less important than my ability to justify my choices by pointing at someone else's choices right now. Teens hear this as their individual needs being dismissed in favor of a comparison that requires them to become someone they are not. Parents rarely enjoy being compared to other parents. The experience of receiving that comparison does not improve when you are the teenager receiving it. Your relationship with your teen is the only dynamic that actually matters, and no other family's arrangement is a useful benchmark for yours. Here is what sits underneath all 11 of these habits when you look at them honestly from the other side of the closed door. Your teen is asking one question through every withdrawal, every coded conversation, every journal hidden in a new location this week. The question is whether they can bring you the real version of themselves and trust that what you do with it will not cost them their privacy. Surveillance does not answer that question in a way that keeps them talking. Only consistent, trustworthy behavior answers it over time. Stop investigating. Acknowledge what you have done honestly when you have crossed the line. Give back the privacy you took without asking. Trust is constructed through repeated behavior across a long period of time. It is not installed through a single honest conversation. Choose to build it now while they are still in the house, and they will choose to maintain it long after they have left it.